Fabulous. So this is week 3. Thank you very much for those of us who are live. I appreciate that the timing may not be ideal for people, and people have days that run over and people have commitments. So I think it is lovely to be able to record this with people attending. But I do know that other people throughout the week do watch things and listen. I take it as a positive when people send me a message and say, "Oh, I need to listen back to it because I fell asleep halfway through." Yes, you're not meant to fall asleep in meditation and mindfulness, but I kind of believe that if you fall asleep, it's because your body needed the rest, and that's all good. So this week we are working with calmness. Kind of the whole point of meditation, mindfulness, all of that stuff is around calmness, but we'll explore it in a little bit more detail. Do forgive the thing above my head there. I'm already finding it a bit distracting, but we're going to meditate, so I'll note it and I won't get too attached to the annoyance it's causing me. Again, Spike the cactus is not in the frame because it distresses Barbara. So in the last couple of weeks, we've worked a little bit with our breath. We've done some visualizations around kindness and purpose. And last week we worked with the element of earth, and we all sent our roots down to the ground. I think I mentioned last week to this evening we're going to work with the element of air. That's part of the reason I've turned the camera around and you've got the garden, so you can actually observe the air within the garden, and also because I thought it might be nice to see a different aspect of this space. So yes, we are going to use our breath, we're going to use air, and we're going to explore and wriggle around in different ways that we can calm ourselves down, cool ourselves off, and hopefully there's 2 techniques that will support us all day to day for a couple of minutes to step away from something that's aggravated us or could aggravate us, or if we're getting hot and bothered, doesn't have to be menopause, but it's perfect for that. And yeah, hopefully they will be useful. Clearly, if something feels wrong, if it's uncomfortable or painful, it's not for you. If it's making you feel agitated or aggravated, it's not for you. So see how you go. I continue to be in my comfortable yet wobbly chair. I promise at some point I will upend it and tighten whatever needs tightening. But it's very comfortable, so that's the main thing. So if you find a nice comfortable space, dining room chair, armchair, sofa, bed, floor, doesn't matter. Technically speaking, none of us should be sat resting against chairs. We should all be upright like this. But I'm not a purist. I think it's very much something that you should be comfortable and supported. People know their own bodies. People have different physical issues, and we should be supported and comfortable. I do like a wriggle. I struggle to keep still. So please feel you can wriggle, relax, soften, whatever words work for you. I was writing meditation yesterday and thought that when I'm at the cinema, and particularly if it's going to be a long film, or maybe I'm in one of the not so posh seats that's a bit more uncomfortable, that kind of wriggle that you do so that you're going to be comfortable for a while. And you're not so comfortable you fall asleep, but you're comfortable so that you're alert and you're going to be able to watch the film, which is an irony because I regularly fall asleep at the cinema, but never mind. So sit in whatever way serves you today. I'm actually sat with my feet on the ground and reasonably straight, but that's more about that's how I want to sit today. I'm supported, I'm comfortable, I know I'm safe. All of these things are super important. So feel free to keep your eyes open at the moment or close them, whatever you prefer to do. But I just want to explore the sense of air around our bodies. So whether or not that's the air that you can sense on any skin, or whether that's just a kind of sense of space around you, just settle a little bit and sense that air around you. Maybe it's warm where you are, maybe it's cool where you are, maybe the air is breezy, maybe it's still. Just have a little check in and see what the air around you is like. Have a little think. Is there a breeze? I've got a slight breeze coming in, but it's not a warm breeze, it's a coolish breeze, because summer really hasn't arrived. And probably the first place to really take your attention to is your nose. And just think, how does it feel as the air comes into my nostrils? Does it feel smooth? Or are you a little bit snuffly today? Is the air cooler? Is the air warmer? How are you feeling right now as we start to settle? I'm aware I've had quite a chilled-ish day today, so I already come into this space and feel settled, which is nice. But slowly and gently, if you've not had the luxury of a calm day, just put aside anything that's gone on, good or bad. Don't have to name it. Just gently let go of what's gone on so far today. Maybe put to one side what might happen in the rest of the day, tomorrow. Right now, we're just here. We're connecting. We're observing. We're observing the breeze, the air, and we're just in this moment. And in being just in this moment, hopefully our body and mind, our breath, and our soul feel a little bit more connected. So it's always at this point I need a wriggle. Bad meditator. And I just need to make sure that places that I think are relaxed. And just check in with what I need. So you make sure you're warm enough, you're not too warm. I've put socks on because, again, summer hasn't arrived and nobody wants cold feet while they meditate. So the first breath, the first breathing technique, and there's only going to be two, I'm not going to bombard you. The first breathing technique that I'd like us to try out is called the box breath. Box breathing might be something you're super familiar with. It might be something you've never heard of. It might be something that you're kind of somewhere in between. You're very welcome to keep your eyes open. You're very welcome to close your eyes or settle your gaze on something in just kind of a gently unfocused way. If you are keeping your eyes open, what I'm going to do with my right hand might be helpful. It might be unhelpful. So a little bit like a conductor guides an orchestra, I will aim to create this box. Now, if I give myself nausea and vertigo, I'll stop. But I'm going to aim to give you a visual cue for box breathing. But ultimately, if you want to close your eyes down and just use your imagination or just listen to my voice, that's absolutely fine. So the idea of a box breath is there's an inhalation, holding of the breath, an exhalation, and a holding of the breath. So it's inhale, hold, exhale, hold. If you've got any severe lung conditions, it's not one for you. So tune me out, fast forward me. Other than that, if it's comfortable to take 4-second inhalations, 4-second holds, 4-second exhalations, 4-second holds, that's the idea. That's what a box breath should be. But if it doesn't feel right, if it's not for you, it sends your thoughts crazy, just put it to one side and go make your dinner. So do what you need to do. Wriggle, get a blanket, have a slurp of your tea. Close your eyes down if you want to close your eyes down. Watch me if it helps. If it confuses you to watch me, don't. And we're going to go for 4 or 6 box breaths, because 4 never sounds like a lot, but I tend to find when I actually do 4 full box breaths, that can be enough. So we may do 4, we may do 6, I may lose count. We won't be doing it for long though. So when you're ready, if you take a full exhalation out, and then we're going to go in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and just resume your normal breaths. So I haven't given myself motion sickness. Everybody will be very glad to know you're not about to watch me vomit onto the computer screen, because that would be vile. So you may wonder, what the heck's that all about? Why does that matter? What difference does it make? I'm quite nerdy, so you may have no interest in the science, but you're going to hear a bit of it anyway. And why I babble at you, just breathe in whatever way works for you. If you want to carry on with your box breaths, carry on. If you want to just gently at rest, breathe in whatever way works for you. And I promise I won't bore you for too long. So box breathing works in a variety of different ways. Obviously, when we're taking controlled mindful breaths, when we're connecting to our breaths, there's good scientific evidence, and it's not woo-woo, it's mainstream science, that this sort of breath work can help reduce anxiety, improve our lung function, help our mood. Breath work, I actually read in a study yesterday, breath work can improve mood more than mindfulness. Found that quite interesting. It improves the oxygenation to all of our tissues, because we're breathing in a more effective, more efficient way. It can slow our pulses down, our heart rates, and it ventilates the lungs better, as I say, and it can lower blood pressure. What I also read yesterday is that nasal breathing affects the nervous system differently to mouth breathing. So generally in meditation, we're invited to breathe through our noses by default. And there's a couple of different parts of the brain, and I'm not going to bore you with the actual bits of the brain, but trust me that breathing through your nose means that the activity in 2 different parts of your brain is synchronized in a way that improves focus, mood, blood pressure. So the brain's a very sophisticated machine, and apparently, according to the scientists, breathing through our noses improves something, the effectiveness, the efficiency, if you like, of the brain. Little and often is felt to be better. So doing 4 to 6 box breaths 2 or 3 times a day may actually bring you more health benefits than doing 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes once a day. I think the key for me is box breathing, and the other breath that we'll come on to in a little minute can actually help through the day. So if we're getting a bit hot and bothered for whatever reason, and I don't mean hot and bothered in a literal sense necessarily, but if we're feeling stressed, unsettled, unproductive, unfocused, or we want to feel more focused, all of that positive stuff, then box breathing can help. and regularly doing that can improve our health and improve what we're able to enjoy. So that's the boring science. I do apologize for being a little bit nerdy. So another breath that we can use in our day-to-day life, and forgive me if my pronunciation isn't what it could be, is the sitali breath, or the cooling breath. Now, there's two slightly different techniques, and we're only going to cover one of them, and it's a bit limited because of how I can, or rather can't, roll my tongue. But it's, in principle, a cooling breath. It can help if we're feeling unsettled, if we'd like to feel a little bit calmer, if we want to feel cooler, whether that's because summer finally has arrived and everybody's baking hot, or, you know, you've gone on holiday, or you are having a menopausal hot flush. So I'll explain it and then we'll give it a little go. So the key difference for me, partly because of the way I can't roll my tongue, the key difference for me with this cooling breath is essentially you're breathing in across your teeth. So you're breathing in through your mouth, across your teeth. My tongue will be kind of rolled like that. Some people can actually roll their tongues. And I remember my mum could roll her tongue and my brother could. And my dad and I were the same, and we can only do that. So you can roll your tongue like it was a pita bread and stick it out of your mouth. I won't be doing that because I'm not physically able. But the most important thing is you're breathing in through your teeth. So what I'm going to invite us to do first is to break it down and just breathe in across our teeth. Don't care how long you do it for. Can be a count of 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter. And just notice when you breathe in through your mouth and breathe in across your teeth and then out through your nose, does it feel different? It might feel the same. I played around with it yesterday and today, so I know it makes me feel cooler. And I'm looking a bit hot, so let's give that a go. So I'm going to try and settle again because my nerdiness has got me all excitable. And just settle in. And I'm going to close my eyes down. And I'm going to just gently, softly breathe the normal way that I do in meditation. And now I'm going to just part my lips and breathe in through my mouth, across my teeth, and exhale through my nose. So I'm going to do that 3 or 4 times. Let's see how we go. Now I found that easier than when I practiced it earlier. When I breathed in through my mouth and out through my nose, my brain sat there and kind of didn't compute, which I suppose points out that, you know, when we get used to doing something a certain way and we're doing it differently, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it. So I feel a little bit cooler. I'm sure I'm not any less red, but anyway. So now what you do is entirely up to you. If you can roll your tongue like a taco, like a pita bread, then do that. I can't do it. So I'm going to stick with the breathing in across my teeth, but I'm going to curl my tongue up like a spoon, which is all I can do, but I'll do that within my mouth. And obviously talking while I do that is not straightforward, not possible. So I'll invite you to give that a go. And if it doesn't feel right, if it's too ridiculous, then just breathe in whatever way works for you. So here we go. We'll take a breath out together. and in again. And in again. And in once more. And interestingly, when I tried to do that with my eyes open, smiling at the camera, I couldn't, so I closed my eyes down. So very small nerdy fact, that clearly, for me, my mouth felt cooler. I generally feel cooler, and that type of breath is meant to cool the entire body. It's also meant to help digestion. Now, geeky Hannah thinks perhaps that's something to do with the pressure difference of breathing in that way. But hippie geeky Hannah's quite happy to go with the flow that there's a good solid evidence that it helps with digestion. And again, little and often is the way to go. But that one I particularly like if you're doing a presentation in work, or there's something that maybe is putting you on edge. What comes to mind today is a family gathering or having to deal with family. Then that can help. So the other little nerdy bit around breathing generally, that technique that we've just done, and I'll talk more about the vagus nerve another day, otherwise you'll just be bored to tears with all of the nerdiness, is that breathing in with that cooling breath does stimulate our vagus nerve. And I think the vagus nerve is getting a lot more coverage and is being spoken of a lot more now, even than 2-3 years ago. So the vagus nerve passes from base of the head down through the chest, around the sides, and through the belly. So there's a variety of different techniques that can support your vagus nerve and can help create an environment within your body where healing can happen. Essentially, if you're in fight, flight, flee, freeze, this sort of technique, using techniques that improve the vagus nerve functioning, I suppose is the word, it can get our bodies into that rest and digest state. So calmness, that kind of when we can actually feel like our rational selves, not our less than rational selves. So there's another couple of breathing techniques that I'm going to save for another week, because if it's just me battering you with different breathing techniques, that'll be really tedious. But at some point we'll do alternate nostril breathing. That can be really nice for helping relaxation, quieten the mind. And then some belly breathing, which is particularly good for vagus nerve and getting out of this fight, flight, flee, freeze. But if you want to look them up or get in touch with me and I can send you some information. So I would like to do just a little bit of breathing before we depart. And I would invite you to decide whether you're going to do box breath, cooling breath, or just a very natural, relaxed breath. It can be your normal breathing for meditation, which I appreciate isn't your normal breathing when you're day-to-day making a cup of tea and doing the ironing. But you have a little think whether just that regular relaxed breath is what you want to do. But I'm going to ask you to put your hand on your chest and your hand on your belly. Or you can box breathe. If you fancy 4-4-4, I'll let you count that in your own head. Or you might like the cooling breath. Now, to try a different bit of breathing, I think I'm going to do a nice relaxed breath with my hand on my chest and my hand on my belly. So again, if we wriggle and soften and relax and just make sure we're being really, really kind to ourselves, coming to this meditation if it's the right thing for us this evening. making sure we've had a cup of tea, we've got a blanket, we've got some fresh air, all of that stuff. Knowing that we're safe and we're comfy. And really tuning into the air that's around us, whether your eyes are open and you're curious and you're looking round, or your eyes are closed and maybe you're just sensing that air a little bit more on your face. And all of this stuff tonight is about calmness and coolness and relaxation. And if there's any messages that you want to send to yourself as we settle in, might be a good time to do that. So I'd like to extend thanks to my body, because despite the fallouts we've had over the years, I'm very grateful it's stuck with me. And my mind and my soul for making a choice to be here right now. Everybody that at some point has dipped into this and has made the choice and taken the effort to just breathe and create a calm state around themselves, stepping away from all the things we need to be in a day, and create a little bubble of calmness around yourself. I'm also grateful that we get to come together, whether it's live or whether it's, I think asynchronous is the fancy term. But energetically, if you watch this at another time and you do this at another time, then it's feeding this practice. It's generating more calmness. It's generating more positivity within the community. And what I'd like you to notice now, and what I'm trying to notice, is the coolness. I'm still quite pink, but the coolness within. I definitely feel cooler, my hand and my chest. I'm thinking about the air on my face, on my hands. My feet are tucked up in socks. I'm just aware of cool air. I can hear the cool breeze in the trees outside. Put your attention to the air passing in and out of your nose. And as you breathe in, just notice if either of your hands move. I don't need you to breathe differently. Just observe. The hand on my chest is definitely moving more than the hand on my belly. And that's because typically we don't breathe into our bellies a whole lot. And that's okay. We can connect to our sense of smell. I can smell some incense. I can also smell the evening air, but I couldn't describe that to you. We can connect to the sense of sound, whether it's the sound that's nearby in the room or just outside of the room or beyond. So I love the sound of the leaves on the trees this time of year. I could hear a dog woofing in the background at a distance, that kind of nice sound, not the annoying close by yappy sound. But right now it's the breeze. I can feel myself well supported. The chair feels a lot warmer than me now. I've cooled off. And when I look around the room, I can see bits and bobs that are just gently blowing in the breeze. And only when you're ready, wriggle yourself back into this room. Move your fingers and your toes. I'm going to wriggle my nose because it goes cold. And we're back here. And I can still see blue sky, which is fabulous. So next week, we'll be on week 4. And the theme for the week is authenticity. And I might either write some poetry or, more likely, find some poetry from a book from an actual author. And we'll do some sort of arrival, breathing, some sort of meditation. I don't want every week to be the same. I don't want it always to be a visualization or always to be this or that. What I'm hoping is that it's kind of a smorgasbord through the weeks of bits and bobs for people to try, to find out what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what kind of gets you curious. So I'm promising authenticity as our theme, and I'm going to promise some poetry, but not necessarily mine. And then everything else will come to me between now and then. Something with, it might be a song on the radio, I might look in one of my books, and I will trim the video and upload it again because I'm on a roll with the technology, but I've just jinxed myself now. So thank you for everyone that's joined this evening and anyone that joins through the week. And I hope if your body needs to sleep, the sound of my voice puts you to sleep. I'd prefer it if you stayed awake, but I'm taking every view as a win. And thank you to everybody who sends me messages through the week to say that they've listened to it and I've put them to sleep, or they've listened to it and it's helped them feel brighter, calmer, whatever. The main reason to do this is to just share some of this with people. And if it helps one person, great. If it helps 50 people, that's even better. But yeah, and obviously sharing my nerdiness, I won't make a habit of it. So thank you very much, and I will see you next week.